Hi, I'm Marcus Wilson from Pooka & Co, and I'm here at the Glaziers Hall on London's South Bank to meet one of our clients, the Worshipful company of Glaziers. Now, the Glaziers are one of the City of London's historic livery companies dating back to the 14th century. And the livery movement began as medieval trade guilds, really, but these days the company focuses more on education, charity, and the promotion of stained and architectural glass and the stained glass profession. So over the last 2 years, Pooka & Co have worked with the Glaziers to implement CiviCRM as a tool to help the Glaziers to manage their memberships. So CiviCRM is open source software built by and for charities, non-profits and membership organisations. And it includes components to manage memberships, events, donations and to handle communications. We've also redesigned and rebuilt their website on WordPress and then integrated CiviCRM with that. And that allows users of the Glaziers website to apply for membership online and then to log into the website to update their contact details, to discover other members in an online directory, to register for events and to make donations. So we're here today to find out about how CiviCRM is working for the Glaziers.
So my name's Liz Wicksteed and I am clerk to the Worshipful company of Glaziers. As a Worshipful company, that means it was founded in the Middle Ages as a trade guild. We were the trade guild for stained glass practitioners in the City of London. Over the centuries, it has evolved into being a membership organisation for people interested in stained glass and stained glass artists, and also doing some work in support of the art and craft of stained glass. In this role, I've been using it. We went live about 3 months ago for the website. I've been using the database in this role for probably the best part of 3 years. And in my previous job, I also used Civi when I was also working for a membership organisation. Here at the Glaziers, we have about 300 members and we run a lot of events, and there's only myself and the assistant clerk, both of whom work 3 days a week, and so a good, efficient management system is something we really depend on. We use CiviCRM for the membership database, and so we record in that who our members are, all the details about them, and we use it for things like sending out newsletters to them really easily. We use it to define what their membership fee is each year, and we use it for all kinds of other processes like that. We've also much more recently started using it for event management through the website, and that is about 3 months in, so we're well up the learning curve on that, but we're still on the learning curve. And we're also using it to have a much more dynamic website with more information about news and so on. So members, when they log in, they can update their own membership records, and they can also choose what personal details they want to be visible to other members. For example, their email address and their home address, their partner's name. All members can see every other member's name and also the year that they joined and their status. We have 2 levels of membership, and they can see what status within the company people have. And they can book events when they log in. And I can store documents so that people can go back and read them again. For example, there's a briefing every now and then from the Lord Mayor, and I send that round in an email, but it's good to have a single place where you can go back and look at those things too. We had a database, and my mind's gone blank. It was the one which is in Access, I think, the Microsoft Outlook suite, which was okay, but you can't do anything very much with it other than record membership data. And it had got very overcomplicated as a way of trying to record things, and it was basically falling over and not very fit for purpose anymore. And so we did a review of what was out there, and then we looked in depth at 3 companies, and I went round and asked some of my colleagues who work in very similar organisations for their views, and that was how we decided on Civi. It was quite good in that it forced us to really think through exactly what kinds of information do we want to have, and how do we want to order our memberships, and what are we using all of this for? What functionalities do we want for ourselves? As I mentioned earlier, the company, as well as being a membership organisation, does work in support of stained glass and the art and craft. So we have a charitable arm, and they are thinking about how best to position what they do on the website. And so it forces you to think in a much more precise way exactly what it is that you're aiming to achieve. And also, it was a good reason for cleansing all of our data and making sure it was up to date. And the migration process was tricky because of that, and fairly time consuming, but it would be with whatever database we have moved to, and it's a worthwhile process in its own right. I like how versatile it is. It's not an intuitive system. You do have to do something 3 or 4 times before being able to do it without looking at the training video at all. And you do initially almost always have to be told how to do something. It is quite hard to figure out for yourself. There's some good help online. There's a Civi guidance note online, which is helpful, but it's really good also just getting guidance from the company we use to manage Civi, Pooka, because that is always in plain English and has an understanding of our business needs. And so that makes it very easy. One big thing was that it is not automatically compatible with the Go Cardless direct debit system. And we use that for membership fees and for a lot of event payments. And ideally, Civi would work so that it would automatically recognise a Go Cardless payment for something, and that would then be updated. Unfortunately, it turned out it will only do that if someone sets up a Go Cardless direct debit after we had already moved over to Civi. And since 299 of the 300 members had the existing debits, that was never going to happen. And so if Civi is developed in a way that enables it to recognise existing Go Cardless debits, and I might not be expressing this the right way, but I hope the point is clear, that would be an immense step forward for us. I think the search function for the help online could be more flexible and a bit more plain English. It reads sometimes as though it's aimed at people whose full-time job is managing the database, rather than people who are doing it amongst running all the rest of the organisation. But as I say, we have a very helpful support team in the organisation that develops this for us, and that's a relatively minor thing. The new interface is nice and bright and clear, so that's a step forward.